Good day, Sir Adenis, and to our fellow classmates. Right now, we're going to tackle about sustainable development. But before we proceed, let me introduce to you guys the members of Group 6. So first, we have Deck Cadet Kabilin Wilbert Jan, Deck Cadet Olbuta Rostom Gabriel, Deck Cadet Yaun Charles Howard, Deck Cadet Monterona Ron Bryan, Deck Cadet Lapis June Dave, and lastly we have Deck Cadet Royles Clyde. So, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development has been defined as development that needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So, in the name of economic development, the price of environmental damage is paid in the form of land degradation, soil erosion, air and water pollution, deforestation, and etc. This damage may surpass advantages of having more quality outputs of goods and services. So next is the 17 goals of sustainable development. So the 17 goals were adopted by UN, all member of UN in 2015 as part of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which set out a 15-year plan to achieve the goal. Today, progress is being made in many places, but overall, action to meet the goals is not yet advancing at the speed or scale required. 2020 needs to usher in a decade of ambitious action to deliver goals by 2030.
17 Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. Adopted by 193 countries in 2015, the SDGs emerged from the most inclusive and comprehensive negotiation in UN history and have inspired people from across sectors, geographies, and cultures. Achieving the goals by 2030 will require heroic and imaginative effort, determination to learn about what works, and agility to adapt to new information and changing trends. The UN Foundation focuses on ideas and initiatives that generate larger impact, advance the SDG imperative to leave no one behind, and are backed by evidence, practical commitments, and action. Individuals, innovations, and actions are helping the planet realize the potential and promises of the SDGs. The Sustainable Development Goals are a global call to action to end poverty, protect the Earth's environment and climate, and ensure that people everywhere can enjoy peace and prosperity. These are the goals that UN is working on in the Philippines. Data in this section is currently being updated and under review. The UN is a staunch partner of the Philippine government for achieving national development goals and the 2030 Agenda, including the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The partnership framework for the sustainable development supports the national long-term vision and maps directly and indirectly into Philippine Development Plan priorities, organizing its strategic contributions through a 2030 Agenda lens into the three pillars: people, prosperity, and planet and peace.
Good day, sir. I am Cadet Olbata. How the UN is supporting the Sustainable Development Goals in Philippines. It builds on decades of close cooperation between the Philippines and the United Nations for the achievement of national and global development objectives, focusing on areas where the capacities of the UN, when working across mandates, will have the greatest impact to leave no one behind. As an initial investment in the longer term UN support to 2030 agenda, it recognizes the strengths and capacities of the Philippine government and focus on historically challenging areas that are foundational to SDGs to complement Philippines-led efforts toward acceleration. And the first is no poverty. Implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including floors by 2030 achieve substantial coverage of the poor and the vulnerable. Eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere, currently measured as people living on less than 1.25 a day dollar, and end hunger and ensure access by all people, in particular the poor and people in vulnerable situations, including infants, to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food all year round. End all forms of malnutrition, including achieving by 2025 the international agreed targets on stunting and wasting in children under 5 years of age, and address the nutritional needs of adolescent girls, pregnant and lactating women, and older persons. So the second is zero hunger. Double the agricultural productivity and incomes of small-scale food producers, in particular women, indigenous peoples, family farmers, pastoralists, and fishers, including through secure and equal access to land, other productive resources and inputs, knowledge, financial services, markets, and opportunities for value and addition and non-farm employment. So the third is good health and well-being. Reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 100,000 live births, and preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5 years of age, with all countries aiming to reduce neonatal mortality to at least as low as 12 per 1,000 live births, and under 5 mortality to at least as low as 25 per 1,000 live births. End the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and neglected tropical disease, and combat hepatitis, waterborne disease, and other communicable disease.
So, quality education. Ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and goal for effective learning outcomes. Ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early childhood development, care, and pre-primary education so that they are ready to education. Substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills, for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational training for the vulnerable, including persons with disabilities, indigenous peoples, and children in vulnerable situations. Gender equality. End all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. Eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual other types of exploitation. Eliminate all harmful practices such as child, early and forced marriage, and female genital mutilation. Recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure, and responsibility within the household and the family as natural appropriate. Clean water and sanitation. Achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and end open defecation, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations, improve water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping, and minimizing release of hazardous chemicals and materials, having the proportion of untreated wastewater and substantially increase recycling and safe reuse globally, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all, implement integrated water resources management at all levels, including through transboundary cooperation as appropriate. Then affordable and clean energy. Ensure universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services. Increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy or mix. Double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. Enhance international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy research and technology, including renewable energy and energy efficiency and advanced and cleaner fossil fuel technology, and promote investment in energy infrastructure and clean energy technology. Decent work and economic growth. Sustain per capita economic growth in accordance with national circumstances and in particular at least 7% gross domestic product growth per annum in the least developed countries. Then achieve higher levels of economic productivity through diversification, technological upgrading, and innovation, including through a focus of high value added and labor intensive sectors. Promote development oriented policies that support productive activities, decent job creation, entrepreneurship, creativity, and innovation, and encourage the formulation and growth of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, including through access to financial service. Substantially reduce the promotion of youth not in the employment, education, or training.
The industry innovation and infrastructure is to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. This goal is crucial for advancing economic growth, job creation, and sustainable development. Firstly, the goal focuses on developing quality, reliable, and sustainable infrastructures. These include transportation, systems, energy networks, and information and community technology or ICT. By investing in robust infrastructure, countries can improve connectivity, enhance productivity, and ensure access to essential services for all citizens. Secondly, the goal promotes inclusive and sustainable industrialization. It aims to increase the industry's share of employment and GDP while ensuring that industrial activities are environmentally friendly and socially responsible. This involves promoting sustainable practices, resource efficiency, and clean technologies within industries. By doing so, we can reduce pollution, minimize waste generation, and mitigate the impact of industrial activities on the environment. Lastly, the goal emphasizes the importance of innovation, encouraging research and development, fostering technological advancements, and promoting entrepreneurships are essential for driving economic growth and addressing global challenges. Innovation plays a crucial role in finding sustainable solutions to complex problems such as climate change, poverty, and inequality. To achieve these objectives, collaboration between governments, private sectors, and entities, and civil society is vital. Partnerships and investments are needed to develop infrastructure, promote industrialization, and foster innovation in both developed and developing countries. In summary, the industry, innovation, and infrastructure goal of the Sustainable Development Goals is crucial for sustainable economic growth, inclusive development, and addressing global challenges. By investing in resilient infrastructure, promoting sustainable industrialization, and fostering innovation, we can create a better future for all. The goal of reducing inequalities is a fundamental aspect of sustainable development. It aims to ensure that everyone, regardless of their background, has equal opportunities and access to resources, services, and rights. Reducing inequalities involve addressing various dimensions including income inequality, social inequality, and inequalities based on gender, age, disability, race, and ethnicity. It recognizes that disparities in wealth, power, and opportunities can hinder social progress and create barriers to sustainable development. To achieve this goal, it is important to implement policies and promote social inclusion, equal rights, and equitable access to essential services such as education, healthcare, and social protection. This requires strengthening legal frameworks, fostering social cohesion, and promoting non-discriminatory practices. Efforts should also focus on narrowing the income gap by creating decent and sustainable employment opportunities, ensuring fair wages, and improving social protection measures, empowering marginalized groups, including women, indigenous people, and persons with disabilities, is crucial for building inclusive societies. Additionally, reducing inequalities requires addressing systematic issues and promoting participatory decision-making processes and include all segments of society. Collaboration between governments, civil society, organizations, and the private sector is essential to create comprehensive strategies and implement effective intervention. In conclusion, reducing inequalities is essential for sustainable development by promoting equal opportunities, ensuring access to basic services, and addressing systematic disparities. We can foster inclusive societies and create more equitable and prosperous future for all. Sustainable cities and communities is to create inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable urban environments. As the world becomes increasingly urbanized, this goal is crucial for addressing environmental challenges, improving quality of life, and ensuring well-being of present and future generations. To achieve this goal, it is important to focus on various aspects. Firstly, sustainable urban planning and design are essential. This involves promoting compact and well-connected cities, efficient land use, and mixed land use development. By planning cities in a sustainable manner, we can reduce environmental impact, enhance accessibility, and create vibrant communities. Secondly, ensuring access to affordable and adequate housing is vital. Efforts should be made to provide safe and affordable housing for all, particularly for the vulnerable groups. This include creating informal settlements, improving slum conditions, and implementing inclusive housing policies. Thirdly, sustainable transportation systems play a key in creating sustainable cities and communities. Encouraging public transportation, walking, and cycling, as well as promoting the use of clean and energy-efficient vehicles can reduce congestion, air pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. Moreover, sustainable cities should prioritize environmental sustainability by protecting green spaces, conserving biodiversity, and promoting renewable energy sources. They should also focus on improving waste management practices, water and sanitation systems, and disaster resilience. Collaboration among government, local authorities, communities, and the private sector is crucial for implementing sustainable urban solutions. By creating sustainable cities and communities, we can enhance quality of life, promote economic opportunities, and safeguard the environment for present and future generations. The goal of responsible consumption and production is to promote sustainable patterns of consumption and production. It recognizes the urgent need to address the environmental impacts of our consumption habits and the way goods and services are produced. To achieve this goal, it is important to adopt sustainable practices throughout the entire life cycle of products and services. These include reducing waste generation, increase resource efficiency, and promoting the use of renewable materials. By implementing circular economy principles, we can minimize the extraction of raw materials, reduce pollution, and minimize the amount of waste sent to landfills. Responsible consumption also involves promoting awareness and education on sustainable lifestyle, encouraging consumers to make informed choices, consider the environmental impact of their purchasing decisions, and opt for sustainable products can make a significant difference. Additionally, businesses need to adopt sustainable production methods such as implementing eco-design, reducing emissions, and implementing green supply chains. Efforts should also focus on reducing food waste, as it not only wastes resources but also contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. Promoting sustainable agricultural practices, improving post-harvest handling, and raising awareness about the importance of reducing food waste can help create more sustainable food systems. Overall, responsible consumption and production are essential for achieving sustainable development. By adopting sustainable practices, promoting awareness, and making conscious choices, we can minimize our environmental footprint, conserve resources, and ensure a better future for our planet and future generations. Action is to combat climate change and its impact. It acknowledges that climate change poses significant threats to ecosystems, societies, and economies, and urgent action is needed to mitigate greenhouse gases emission and build resilience. To address climate change, it is crucial to reduce greenhouse gas emission across all sectors. This involves transitioning to clean and renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and adopting sustainable practices in industries, transportation, and buildings. Additionally, promoting sustainable land use, preserving forests, and enhancing carbon sinks are vital for mitigating climate change. Climate action also involves adapting to changing climate and our building resilience to its impact. This includes developing climate resilient infrastructure, implementing early warning systems, enhancing disaster preparedness, and supporting vulnerable communities in adapting to climate-related challenges. International cooperation and partnerships are crucial for effective climate action. Collaboration between governments, businesses, civil society, and communities is needed to implement climate mitigation and adaptation measures. Share knowledge and technology and provide financial support to developing countries. By taking this decisive climate action, we can contribute to a sustainable and low-carbon future, protect ecosystems and biodiversity, safeguard human health, and create opportunities for green and inclusive growth. In summary, the goal of climate action is essential for addressing the urgent threat of climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emission, promoting adaptation and resilience, and fostering global cooperation. We can mitigate the impacts of climate change and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come.
Good day, I am Det Cadet Lapis Jundeep. So 15 Life on Land. By 2020, promote the implementation of sustainable management of all types of forests, halt deforestation, restore degraded forests, and substantially increase forestation and reforestation globally. Take urgent and significant action to reduce the degradation of natural habitats, halt the loss of biodiversity, and by 2020 protect and prevent the extinction of threatened species. Promote fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising from the utilization of genetic resources and promote appropriate access to such resources as internationally agreed. Mobilize and significantly increase financial resources from all sources to conserve, and sustainably use biodiversity and ecosystems. So number 16, peace and strong justice institution. Significantly reduce all forms of violence and related that rates everywhere, and abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against torture of children. Promote the rule of law at the national and international levels and ensure equal access to justice for all. Substantially reduce corruption and bribery in all their forms. So 17, partnership for the goals. Strengthen the domestic research mobilization, including through international support to developing countries to improve domestic capacity for tax and other revenue collection. Mobilize additional financial resources for developing countries from multiple sources. Assist developing countries in attaining long-term debt sustainability through coordinated policies aimed at fostering debt finance, debt relief, and debt restructuring as appropriate, and address the external debt of highly indebted poor countries to reduce debt distress. Adopt and implement investment promotion regimes for this countries. What is the meaning of Sustainable Development Goals? The Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. So what is the most important sustainable development goal? So goal 1, no poverty, and poverty in all its form everywhere. Goal 2, zero hunger, and end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3, at last but not the least, good health and well-being, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So that will be all. Thank you. God bless.